Hey, what's going on, my beautiful people? Okay, before I get into this today, if you guys are just coming in, I just want to address real quickly because I know what people are going to say. They're going to say you wasted 3 minutes, 4 minutes of my life. If you're coming in, this is a live stream. All right, if you're watching this on replay, understand that this is a live stream. So I don't want to waste any of your time, any of your precious life. But this is a live stream, and I have some things to say today. I want to talk a little bit about why the dismissive avoidant likes to stay friends, what it is, the benefits for them, and the things that you will be sacrificing if you do agree to this friendship. Why they usually suggest friendship is because they use it to ease that guilt. First off, to ease that guilt or maintain emotional control after pulling away from you, and we'll get into this later on as to why you should really think twice about maintaining that friendship because I've seen this blow up in people's faces more recently, actually. It also helps them to avoid full emotional loss without committing to repair or intimacy of the relationship. I was just coaching someone that I've been coaching her for a long time, long, long, long time. And if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Thank you if you'll do that. Actually, I don't know if I want to share her story. I'm not going to share her story, but I can tell you that it is along the lines of someone use the relationship to stay friends for as long as possible until they found someone else. And then that friendship is no longer a priority to them. You can hear me good. And that sucks. That really hurts because they call it relationship equity. You think that you're investing in someone and that you're going to get some type of return on your investment in that person. And what ends up happening is the other person runs off and get all of the benefits of what you essentially built. The time and the effort and the communication skills that they mirrored from you has been given to someone else. So be careful about staying friends. And I'm gonna get to the last thing I talk about, which is the only condition that you should take that friendship or conditions. It's not about closeness to them. It's all about emotional management, right? So what this means for you, if you decide to stay friends with them and barring you are strong enough to go through that, what does it mean for you? If you're an anxious person or you're healing, essentially staying friends, what it does, uh, it keeps you emotionally hooked to that person, right? Because you'll keep hoping, you'll keep analyzing every text message that they send you, and you stay stuck in the same dynamic just without the title. So I've seen this happen many times. And I'm going to tell you some of the things I've made, the mistakes I made as a coach. I have been duped along with some of my clients thinking that this relationship was going to progress and go to the next level, and it didn't pan out. And I'm often baffled too, like they had me duped too. I had no clue because they were doing just enough to keep you hopeful, to appease you, to manage that relationship. And as I'm here helping you navigate these things, I have to keep telling you, this might just be your anxious side. I'm seeing what you're seeing, but let's just play this out. Let's just see where this goes because they're doing just enough to give you what you need. And at the time, you know, it was like usually when someone gets stuck in a relationship like that, I'm not saying this is everyone, right? So I'm not trying to lump everyone in the same bucket. They have this scarcity mindset, or they might have come out of some dynamic that was way worse than the current relationship that they're in, or the dynamic that they're in, or situationship that they're in, and they struggle. Summary, I'm here getting stuck. Hey guys, Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. They have this scarcity mindset, thinking that you know this person that I'm with. I hear a lot about soulmates. Oh, this is my soulmate, and it keeps you in a dynamic where you don't truly see your value and your worth, or you get captivated by their stories. I just saw someone comment on one of my shorts and was saying that I really cared about this person because this person has a pretty tragic story, and I bought into the story hook, line, and sinker. But what ends up happening is you end up in this relationship limbo. And next thing you know, 3, 4 years down the line, you're like, what am I doing? I've been in this off and on dynamic. I've never met the family. Um, I've pretty much had to walk on eggshells as far as what I need and what I wanted in this relationship. And here I am, still stuck in this friend zone. Because I've seen people do that and they end up baffled when a person goes off and gets in a whole full blown relationship with the next person. It makes you wonder, like, what was I? Like, is it just me you didn't want to be in a relationship with? Or is it, because I feel like I'm lied to because you completely committed to this next person. Susan, hey, it's good to see you. Keep talking closer to the microphone. So closer to the microphone helps out. Thanks. I don't want to get to the point where I'm like eating the microphone, right? All right, so it keeps you stuck. You keep analyzing, you keep wondering if I'm going to be the person that's going to like change this person's life and they're going to commit to me forever. Here's what I say should happen, because if you commit to that friendship too soon, it keeps you from being able to detach. And detaching is the building blocks for healing, right? It is the foundation for healing. If you stay connected to this and you're in this relationship limbo and you're wondering, all right, when am I going to get the next text? When are we going to hang out again together? This person is responding. I see them turning more into a pen pal and you're talking to each other over text, but they can never commit to a date. When I see this working out well, it's friendship. Let's say that you guys were dating. I coached a lady. She was in her like 50s. She was in her early 50s, and she showed up really anxious with this guy that we both knew clearly was someone that was more on the avoidance side. And what she did during that relationship was she reset. She reached out to me. We worked together for a long time, and she was able to let him just have his pool nights where he just played pool, do his different things, and she was centered. And what happened was she ended up reattracting him because she just, you know, got herself under control when it comes to her to dysregulation of her nervous system. That can only happen when you remain friends and move to that next level when you've both done the work and you no longer feel triggered or you no longer feel hopeful about some type of reconciliation. It has to be their decision. When it comes to an avoidant, they're not going to be pressured into being into a relationship with you. So it has to be something that they say, you know what? I gave this silence thing a chance. I gave this no contact thing a chance and I didn't like it. It kind of sucked. So yeah, I think I want to give this thing another try. So you won't know that when you first go into no contact and when you first say, you know what, I need to lay out my boundaries. This is clearly not what I'm looking for. You won't know that they're going to get that triggered inside of them. So that's what, like I said, one of those situations where I was kind of duped too because the person was showing up. They were going to therapy. They were doing a bunch of different things with that person actually, and they ended up not wanting it anyway. Another condition that I see where it works is when the person has respect for you. You know, um, like true respect. There's a saying that goes, um, I thought it was what I heard was if a woman doesn't love you, she can't respect you. But I took the gender off of that. Like if a person doesn't respect you, they can't love you. And when an avoidant in particular respects you, they want to do things to make that relationship work. I've seen avoidants try to remain friends because they had deep respect for the person that they were seeing. The person hadn't triggered them. They were respectful to them. They were nurturing. They were kind. They were good communicators to the avoidant, and they wanted to stay friends with them. Now, this was a particular scenario here where the person definitely wanted to stay friends because they knew they were making a mistake. They knew that um, what I'm doing right now is purely out of fear, and I want to be able to. And this was a scenario where the person wasn't running around, wasn't seeing multiple people. They were just genuinely scared about not being able to show up the way that the person wanted them to. So they ended up, accepting that friendship. I'm not quite sure what happened with their relationship, but she did tell me that they were back in communication, and he was kind of committing to, like, because he respected her, and he said that multiple times. He just really respects me. That has to be someone that's not volatile. You have to be someone that's not volatile in that relationship, right? And usually, what happens, time has to pass, and the connection has to be redefined into something different. Whenever someone comes back, I'm like, okay, what's the repair plan? We have to have a plan for addressing what the elephants were in that previous relationship. It's a different chapter. Those characters have died off in that chapter. We need to reform new characters. We need to recast this thing in order for it to be something different. And if you don't do that, you are setting yourself up for getting right back in the same exact dynamic than you have before. And what needs to happen before that is, first, I know this sounds, if you're anxious, if you're someone who's fearful, if you feel like you have some type of abandonment wound or rejection wound, this is going to be hard for you. But the first thing you need to do is take space, right? I mean, real space, not, I call this the self discovery rule. You need to apply the self discovery rule, and none of this have no contact, have self discovery. I'm talking full on discover self discovery. You need to, like, not check those social media. You need to not text them. You need to not talk to their friends, not talk to their family. Really dive deep into who you are. Just they call it what, monk mode. Go full monk mode and figure out who you are, what makes you tick, why you are the way that you are, and why you do the things and make the choices that you make. Because when you do that, I'm not gonna lie to you, most of the time I see that they don't even want that relationship back again. When you level up to a degree where you feel like, all right, I know my worth. I know what I have to bring to a relationship. These are the things I'm looking for. I'm looking for healthy communication. I'm looking for someone who can meet my needs, someone who appreciates the things that I do for them. When you get into those really unhealthy dynamics, you're going to be looking like, I don't want someone who gaslights me. I don't want someone who's a poor communicator or immature or poor with their finances. It's interesting when you go into that monk mode because you come out with the self-discovery mode. You come out with this new renewed vision on what a healthy relationship looks like. But I can tell you that the only time that really happens is when you take that time to really understand who you are, like, on a micro level. You can take the time to rebuild your sense of self. I'm reading this now. Now I'm reading, all right? Rebuild your sense of self before even considering that friendship. Usually, when people take friendship, I'm not going to lie, when it comes to men, they will accept their friendship all day long because they feel like they can work themselves out of that. Or they can, I say, go no contact. You have to go no contact in this scenario. Well, how are they? This is the question they ask. How is she going to know that I've changed? Well, I could tell you that she's not going to believe that you changed within a couple weeks or within a couple months. Sometimes a couple months, sometimes a year. Depends on how far that person got pushed away or how unsafe they felt at the end of their relationship. When I say unsafe, I meant emotionally unsafe. Unsafe. They felt like they wasn't being heard, they wasn't being understood, and all the other things that lead to breakups, right? You have to like show them that that old character of yours has died off. And if friendship is naturally meant to happen, it will happen. You know, I was listening to the radio this morning and they was saying that this lady, um, she had a guy that she dated 11 years ago. She's married now, and she was married for 11 years. And she went to brunch with this guy and didn't tell her husband. And I think this is someone where she said they had a nasty breakup and they just weren't friends. And I'm like, okay, first off, this is a whole new ball of wax here. I don't even want to dive down the whole micro cheating that's going on here. But that scenario makes me think about, what are the conditions that we accept friendship after a breakup? If you've both gotten to the point where you're like, you know what, this just isn't working out. This is just it just run its course. And I think friendship can be healthier because you've redefined that friendship. You've redefined that relationship. But if it's something that ended on sour notes, someone just going off and meeting someone else right away, that's probably not a friendship that you want because first off, your heart's still in it, and the other person was probably rebounding simply to probably get over you. Right? That's just all right. Sorry, I'm presuming from being presumptuous there. What's up, guys? I got answers for you if you are in the chat. Closer to the mic works. I've been in this dynamic for 4 years. You're talking about me. Ooh, it's it's what's the saying? The frog in a boiling pot analogy. It's kind of like that, where you sign this covert contract and you didn't realize you were signing it. I know that you shouldn't talk about commitment right away. I tell people don't talk about commitment within the first month or two. You don't really know the person. You don't even know what you're signing up for, who you're committing to. So it's good to like see them in different seasons of their life, to see how they navigate different conflicts or navigate even the good times in their life. So it's good to just, say, all right, we're not putting a label on this. We're just going to figure out where this goes. But after a while, I don't know what I just did here. After a while, it needs to be defined because there needs to be certain expectations. I believe, expectations are premeditated resentments, but when it comes to a relationship, there's standards. Erase that expectation. There's standards that you have. There are certain ways that person has to show up in order you to feel like, all right, I'm appreciated. I'm in an actual committed relationship. So yeah, we need to have certain things laid out so we're on the same page. What's up, guys? All right, I'm gonna answer some comments here and then I'm gonna end this live session. If you guys are watching, I talk a little bit about, what are the conditions? If you guys are coming in late, what are the conditions that you should accept friendship? Some of the issues that might come up if you decide to accept their friendship, and then really ask yourself, what is it that you truly want? Because if you're simply doing this, meaning if you're accepting friendship because you feel you're going to work to the next level, there has to be a time limit on it first off. And honestly, you should be seeing other people. I'm going to get probably in trouble for saying that, but if you're not committed, you should be seeing other people or talking to other people at least. You shouldn't be putting your eggs all in one basket because you don't really know if this is going to pan out. I've worked with people who said, I just simply can't do that. And I'm like, well, is it for religious reasons or what's? No, I'm not really religious. It's just I can't spread my attention out to multiple people. And I get it, but the person was pushing 50 and she had these series of monogamous serial monogamy type relationships. And there were people who were better options for her that came along, which we talked about. She told me about her history. And she ended up nexting them because she was stuck with someone that kind of had her in this relationship limbo, in this let's be friends mode. But hindsight's 2020. What males with males is hard for me to leave is they're so sweet to me and they're helpful and they say that they care for me soon. All right, I'm trying to help people out because these comments help. They really do. It help because there are people who are in your shoes and you don't even realize it. I have my number up here. If you guys want to text, because I know certain people don't want to use their channel or their handle to comment, and I don't want to post it on here. So, okay, what makes it hard for me to leave? Any other reasons it would be okay to stay friends? Um, I would say it'll be okay to stay friends if you guys were friends before. You know, I believe that there are a lot of relationships that turn romantic when they never should have in the first place. And those are the relationships that you really grieve because you actually just missed the friend that you had before that relationship. So if they offer friendship in those relationships, I would take it because it's like, all right, that would be one of those scenarios where you say we don't hate each other. We tried this relationship thing, which we probably shouldn't have, but I just miss like our friendship before the relationship. Have you ever seen relationships where people are married and then they get divorced and then they end up better friends than they were before they got married or while they were married? Some of those type of dynamics where you were like, all right, I met this person in high school, had a crush on me, and we started dating in college. We were actually really good friends. When we dated, we couldn't get along. We argued a lot. But then after that, we broke up, and then we ended up being friends again. And I was watching the show, and they were saying how it's like inappropriate to have friends like of the opposite sex. And one guy found out that his girlfriend was good friends with someone that she had briefly dated before, and he was really insecure about that. And she's like, it just we were young and we were just friends. We were friends before, and we tried to give it a go, and it didn't work out. A lot of men, or I guess a lot of women too, would be insecure about that. Like, if you dated this person before, then technically they're an ex, and technically you shouldn't have any contact with your ex. Now, this is a topic for a whole another day, but I'm curious to know what people think about that. If you feel that there's no going back, if you feel that it's not appropriate. Not like the woman who didn't tell her husband that she went to brunch with this guy that she dated before. Now, that is micro cheating. But if it's one of those cases where the person you had dated, you realize, all right, we were good friends before this, and there's absolutely no romantic feelings left. Like, I don't care what conditions happen. Like, I'm never going back to that person. I say that's okay. But answering your question, is there a scenario? Yeah. If you were friends before and you missed that friendship, but not if you're trying to get that person back. Not if you still have romantic feelings for them. Then no. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Good to see you. Thank you for coming to the live stream. Peace.